What up, y'all? Back for another audio occasion, the podcast for self-starters and those willing to make the most out of any situation. Let me get my audio on the way in ready.
Audio for the EFS family?
Always. You know, I got to keep one in the tuck on the way in. I got a few I was going to go with, but, you know, there's one in particular I wanted to rock out with. This is going to be, you know, you're going to like this one. You're going to like this one. It's going to relate to one of the topics on the board. It's your boy, you know?
Over Drake's safety. Nigga put RDC in this too. RDC World, we need another skit. All right, let me see. I don't know why I'm over here acting like I just seen this shit. I seen this shit, y'all. I'm not. I don't know why. Like I'm not gonna act like I'm just trying to be a W reactor for y'all niggas, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, I didn't read this whole page though. I ain't gonna cap. On May 5th, Twitch streamer.
Because he is on the board.
We
didn't get that out the gate, but we're going to get there.
As the date of this file, and the video has over 4.5 million views. So, yeah.
Just get it out. Just say it. Just say it.
I seen niggas saying, is Drake suing us? That nigga is not suing us, y'all. He not suing us. This is between his beef with UMG. And one thing I will say, though, bro. One thing I learned in my life is this, y'all. This is one thing I learned in my life.
Profound. It's coming.
The biggest L's come from not knowing how to take an L. That's how I honestly believe that shit. Like
I'm going
some
to add
niggas
to the
just
boys in
gotta
the
take
barrel.
an L and move on. Everybody take L's. Everybody. Every single person on this earth takes L's. So we need to just learn how to take them. But I ain't gonna lie, us in the black community, me included, when you get an L, bro, it's just like, man, hell no. Everybody, like, you just get mad, like, fuck, no, hell no, I lose. But, like, the further you go with not accepting an L, the more L's you will obtain. You're literally building the L's up, and you're making your first L even bigger. That's all I got to say about that.
And we're going to let that rock right there.
You're making your first L even bigger.
When you don't know how to take an L, what he said, the more L's you will obtain.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
You know, but shit, we here.
We live, baby. We live on the party.
Did y'all miss us? We took a week off. I know, whatever. We got multiple air horns on the way in.
Let's go, baby.
One time, y'all, back for episode number 47 of the EFS podcast. It is your boy, D Burke, the man, the myth, the legend from the EFS brand himself, the biggest brand that you don't know about yet. And smaller couch today. Drew Falls is out there celebrating his, not celebrating, in the midst of watching his Philadelphia Eagles. Gave him the day off so we could really lock in and be the Philly special that he is. So we got Waldo Black back in the house,
in
man.
In the flesh, baby.
Waldo Blizzy, fresh off the trying times yesterday, but my boy is good. We'll get to it in a moment, I guess.
It's been a challenge.
But we here, man. Episode number 47 to take off with a great piece of conversation. You know, we talked about it on the pre-pod a little bit, but we'll fade this theme music out and we'll get to it. Check in first and foremost, I guess. Let's, get the elephant in the room out the way, I guess. How you doing?
Calling
How
me
you
an
feeling?
elephant? What's going on?
No, I'm not calling you an elephant. I would have just said, get the fuck out the room if I wanted you out of here. But, if that was the case.
Just kidding.
Checking in, man. How you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah,
Gave me a little bit of scare last week
EFS
yesterday.
family, man.
A little scared yesterday,
They trying to take your boy out, man.
It's been a wild week. It's been a wild week.
I was in traffic on DuPont Highway, and someone rear-ended me, slammed in the back of me. And I'm here, though. I'm here. I got the CAT scan. Ain't showing no abnormalities on my spine. I'm good. But even looking this way is difficult, like this right here, turning the neck like that. It's hard. Lower back's, on fire. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that, it could have been a check your boy out kind of situation. And it's like, I'm still here, still good, and I'm calling my very good attorney.
Definitely got to get the lawyers
so
involved.
I'm going to get
Shouts
that
to good attorneys. I ain't give us no air horns. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Didn't say that on the way in.
Yes, please.
Knocking a little bit of the rust off from our week hiatus. But yeah,
Thank you, fans. Thank you, family, EFS family, for just tapping in with us, checking in on us, being a part of the experience. You know what I'm saying?
100%, man.
You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with us.
Facts,
and we appreciate you
facts.
For it.
All praise due for my boy not, being in the worst situation than he was.
Facts.
Been a trying week for me in general, just other people's situations and things going on. You know, mom's was in the hospital ER situation earlier this week. She's good. Everybody's good. You know, picking a little bit of extra overtime work just because, you know, people out on vacations and all that other stuff, which is fine. But, you know, just a lot of heavy, you know, things going on this week.
It's a lot going on, man.
And it's a lot going on in the world in general. So, you know, we'll open up the conversation for that very, very early in with the whole, you know, TikTok thing. You know, first up, man, let's get to it.
Oh, boy.
Because it's going to lead to a different kind of conversation in general, which I'm very, very much looking forward to getting to. But the TikTok ban or supposed ban, you know.
Yeah, I think that as of right now, when we're recording this, TikTok is officially back up and running.
It's back up and running.
Which is crazy to me because it wasn't even 24 hours.
It wasn't even 24 hours.
And it just goes to show when people in power want things done, they can do it instantly. It's not a question of, you know what I'm saying? You have power when you can just arbitrarily make decisions independent of everybody. And I think the bigger thing that is just a conversation I want to have is, as Americans, why is it when we come together and we want certain things, we can't force the agenda? Like we are.
Oh, you're trying to serious it out the gate?
Not out the gate, but I just don't. I feel like we had every opportunity in this moment to really, like, hold people's feet to the fire, and we chose to just let it happen and acquiesce it. And now to me, it's being used as a ploy to get more voters, to get more money, to get more people on his side. And I say his side, I mean Trump's. So, because when I logged it back in, the first thing I see is, oh, thank you so much, Trump. Oh, Trump, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. So
when
thank
the inauguration,
Trump.
the inauguration is very soon. By the time I release this podcast, inauguration will be over. So I definitely think that whole TikTok going away and then coming back very quickly shit was, you know, part of the Trump parade or the you know, inauguration parade as he goes back into office to get people, well, get back into good graces with certain people, you know, especially the youth community, like, you know, because a lot of them voters who was the TikTokers was definitely voting for the other side of.
Definitely was on some Kamala Harris type energy.
So now you tease that their favorite app might be going away. They all sad. They all crying. Like God. I had to, and they will remain nameless on this podcast. But there's one younger person who I know that is in love with TikTok, was having a very hard time knowing that shit was going away this week.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Young girl, like very sad throughout the whole week.
Oh,
I don't know how I'm gonna cope, and I'm not okay with this, and like just disgruntled. Like for me personally, I was fine when the shit went away. Like it's just one less fucking social media for me to keep track of.
Yeah,
and it's too much on my hands. I gotta post shit. I gotta be, you know, mindful of making sure it goes up on every platform. It's just a little less work. Like
it's a lot of work.
A little less work, you know. And I ain't even mad. Wasn't so mad about the TikTok thing. I was more mad about CapCut because that's just, you know, an easy way to just.
I be editing the same way.
You know, when CapCut went away, when I was like, damn, I gotta find another.
It's still going though.
Oh, CapCut ain't back?
It's not back.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm assed out now.
Yeah. I'm in the same position.
Yo, Trump.
Yo, Trump. Hey, yo, call him up.
Bring that CapCut back. Nah, but as I was saying, my bigger point was just in general, I think that shit is Trump being Trump, you know, using the time and the opportunity to make himself look better in the public eye, like, you know, or just have something that he could be like, well, look what I did for y'all. I brought TikTok back, you know. And not to say that that's the only thing that's going on, because I did see that the FDA banned Red 3, I think.
Yep, Red 3.
Red 3, which is, you know, shouts to RFK on that. You know, he did speak about getting in office and trying to eliminate some of these foods that are harmful, more harmful than good in society, and I'm all behind that. So for me, when you start fucking with the food, which has been happening for a long time, I felt like that shit needed to be cleaned up. So I think that they got one of the right people in office for that under the Trump administration.
Yes, I did. I
so,
did give him credit for that.
And then also the whole ceasefire thing going on overseas. You know, I ain't super political, super CNN man. So if you know, you know.
It's crazy.
You know, do want to do my journalistic integrity and not speak on things I don't fully know about just yet. But I do know there was a ceasefire that Trump did speak about beforehand going into office that he would try to orchestrate. So, you know, it's not all bad as we look at it at this point, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
So from my perspective, you know, just wait and see. Like I said before, we got to see how it goes. Do see a lot of conversation going on in the just black culture and community with this whole, leading into the inauguration, TikTok, freaking Trump, all this shit going on at the same time.
A lot going on, man.
A lot of smoke being given, man. Snoop Dogg is under fire. Soulja Boy's under fire. Nelly's under fire. All of them are just getting roasted online for, being people that support supposedly Trump by performing at an event that he paid them to perform at.
So it's my question now is it because they're supporting Trump, or is it because they were so adamant being against Trump prior to now then supporting him? So to me, because I feel like
I ain't gonna lie, the Snoop Dogg shit look a little crazy.
It's hypocritical.
2017 to now, when they, because the first thing they did was splice them videos up together, with him talking about fuck Trump at the radio station and all the other shit.
And now he's all, oh, okay, I'm gonna perform, I'm gonna be there and all that. Which I don't know if it's 100% genuine or if it's about him getting to the bag, which I don't fault him for. But how much is enough, right? How much money is enough money? You know what I'm saying? I feel like Snoop Dogg is all about his bag. He's done stuff with Martha Stewart. He's done stuff with the Olympics.
Snoop Dogg got multiple commercials on TV right now.
Fortnite, barbecue grills, all the stuff that he sells everything.
Just seen a Snoop Dogg commercial earlier before I came
So
over.
to me, he's gonna take the highest. Whoever's the highest bidder, he'll show up and do his same shtick for anyone who's paying. And that's where I'm like, is it? Because my issue isn't with him performing. My issue is with, you made it a thing where you're standing against him. What changed? What happened for you?
Emotions, bro.
No, dollars, man. It's come down to money.
No, emotions and, like you said, dollars now. But I think everyone in 2016, 17 was operating from a very emotional state when Trump first got in office. So much so that they were openly and just adamant about how much they hated him, what they didn't like about him, all that other shit. And
Right.
then he went through his first term. Kamala and not Kamala, well, Biden and Kamala, that administration got in office. And then from there, people were just like, oh, well, this is still some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So
So now, 8 years later almost, more or less, from his first term to now him getting back in office, people feel a lot different. And that's a long time, So for the people spicing up the Snoop video, I do understand how it can look then versus now. Sure, I get that shit. Do I feel like Snoop may owe people an apology? Nah, I don't think he owe nobody an apology. Do I think that he should explain maybe his stance now? Because that content is out there from saying those things before. If he chooses to, sure. But if not, then that is just his choice, right, or will as an individual to do whatever he wants and make whatever money he wants from whoever he would like to, So I do think that from then to now, it's just a lot of emotions changed. A lot of emotions changed, myself included, because I'm just going to be honest. I didn't feel the way I feel now 8 years ago about this whole political thing. And I've been a, very, I want to say, conscious person about the political process and just understanding, where I fit in as a black man in society and all that other stuff.
That's fair.
But just from 8 years ago to now, I think completely different. But Trump got in office when my daughter was first born.
Yeah,
So my daughter's 8 years old now. I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago in a lot of different ways.
And that's fair. And I don't want you to be the same person. But when you are an artist, right, your views are allowed to change.
You got
You're
a
allowed
big
to
voice.
But you are now influencing others because of
you got
your
a big
presence,
audience. Yeah.
because of your decision making, and to not offer any explanation or give any guidance. And let's not forget how the black community treated Chrisette Michele when she sung at the inauguration before.
Facts. I think unfair too.
They treated her wrong.
A little unfair.
And it's like
Career's never been the same.
And her careers took a nosedive just from doing something that now we got multiple artists doing. It's like, wait a minute, where were we? And timing is everything. They say that a lot. Like, timing is everything. You have to be conscientious of when you do something, not just what you're doing. And I get that, but it just seems like there's a double standard for how we treated Chrisette and how we treat Snoop Dogg. If we're not going to be just as vehement about our approach to Snoop, the way we was with Chrisette, then
And not just Snoop,
we
Nelly,
hit
and
Chris-
Soulja Boy too.
Nelly,
is under
Soulja Boy,
fire.
all of them.
Like,
I'm just
you
putting
know,
it all out there.
Just want to make sure we're being fair. We ain't piling on Snoop.
You
All
know-
of you gentlemen who've decided to, do what y'all did.
I just feel like there's a double standard. I feel like it's hypocritical. And I think when you swirl it all together with the TikTok and the senators making investments into Meta, and now all of a sudden TikTok is telling you to join your TikTok to Facebook and all these things. It's like the billionaires are clicking up and said, we could all get some money out of this, y'all. Let's all get bread. Like the rappers is gonna get it. If the rappers do it, they gonna be all right with it. Just some more. Y'all want more money? You want more money, right? Here, take some of this money. Come perform. Snoop, it's all right. You want more money, right? Nelly, come on. Hey. Have I ever stood you wrong before? And I'm like, dang, where we at? And it's like the wolves trying to get pulled over my eyes, and I'm like, nah, get this out of my face. I see too much now, and I'm just like, I'm not with it. I'm not for it. I'm not with it. And even the TikToks and all that stuff, it's all social media. It's all, they're all tools to gain more traction to sell more product. Don't forget, there's a TikTok shop for a reason. So it's all coming down to money. They'll do anything they can to get to the money. And that's what their focus is right now. Money driven.
I mean, no doubt. We've been through that, And I do think that this whole shit going on right now is just literally the Trump winning as many people over game as he can. I still stand by just wait and see. Like, just wait and see.
I've seen enough.
I mean, we all seen enough in a lot of different ways. But,
I'm done.
The second iteration of the Trump term, like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I still stand by. I'm not, knocking anybody for getting a dollar, getting a check how they choose to. I don't know. We've seen too much with this whole political election thing for me to feel a way against those gentlemen who are legends in the hip hop game
in their own right,
in their own right, and in the black community and all that other shit.
Speak of the guy, T-Mobile commercial.
T-Mobile, T-Mobile. That was one I was talking about. Snoop all over the place, like. But get your bag, y'all. If that's what you want to do, if that's how you see a way to further yourself financially, as far as your bank account, your influence, whatever you want to go for, man, do what y'all got to do. Don't hurt nobody to do it, And I do still understand a lot of the people are still emotional about this whole Trump thing and very fearful of what the next 4 years are going to look like.
Oh, yeah.
Refer back to episode, whatever the fuck I said when it said just strap in. Like, we headed there anyway. Like, one way or another.
Season of the American drama.
I don't think Kamala or freaking Trump, the eggs is still going to be the price of eggs. Like, all that shit is still going to be what it is. So we just got to see how that shit play out, man. And just be mindful, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Just be mindful. TikTok aside, all the funny shit that goes along with that, like, just be mindful in this current climate with a bunch of things.
Are you going to be posting on TikTok?
Will I be?
Yeah.
I mean, I use it. For me, social media is a platform for me to gain influence, to gain, like, business for myself.
Right.
So I post fun shit on there? Do I post personal shit on there from time to time? Yes, but most of the posts I, like, put out are, like, business driven in one way or another, Whether it's like, me posting something that's personal to me but still relates to the business side of things, or just, again, strictly business. Most of my posts is like to gain attention, to draw people to what I'm trying to offer and what I'm trying to sell.
Yeah. So it's always going to be.
It's going to be posted on TikTok if it's out there, because I have to, because that's a piece of, like, the consumer market that I got to try to appeal to in some kind of way, And that's just me personally. I was okay with it going away because it's like, all right, cool. Well, maybe these people will jump back to fuck on Instagram, and then I could just talk to them there,
Yeah.
So
one app instead
one
of
less
6,
app to have to deal with.
7, 8
if it's
apps,
out here,
man.
then I'm gonna just go back to regularly scheduled business. The whole China shit, and then the information, and China's the one that owns it. Like, I think all that shit is bullshit. Like,
it's a
and
little
for me, yes, China is the main power that the U.S. is worried about as far as security and all this other shit. But, like, bro, like, we know as Americans, y'all got our information anyway. So, So for me, it's like either they got it or you got it. Like, my personal information to me isn't that much of a concern to say I don't want China to have it. Like, that was never my issue with TikTok. I just don't like the kids doing all the funny shit on there and dancing all the fucking time, and that being the shit that gains attention, because to me that's like corny and cloudy. Not corny, sorry to say that. If you like it, you like it. You like it, I love it, actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that back. But either way, it's just not my vibe. So for me, TikTok was a whole different space. I do like that it's a little bit more informational, than some of the other platforms,
Mm-hmm.
like as far as Instagram and some of the shit that you can find on TikTok more easily than you would on
Yeah.
other platforms.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy that about the space, but for me, TikTok was always just like, I roll like, fuck, another platform I got to deal with, you
Right.
know, and figure out and deal with this algorithm versus this algorithm and all the other shit. So to me, the whole part of it going away, I was cool with. Like, I was all right with it. You know, it was no sweat off my back. But if it's
No
back,
sweat
I'm
off
just
my back,
continue
yeah,
to do what the
facts.
fuck I'm doing now, which is posting on a bunch of fucking platforms. So
Yeah, I mean, I like TikTok. I use it very seldomly. I'm not on any I'm on every social media, but I'm not really using any social media right now too heavily.
yeah,
But when it was banned the other night, because this is being released later. The other night, I was literally scrolling and I was like,
I'll be
if,
all right.
if this is gone,
I'll be
I'm
all
okay.
right. Like,
I'm all right.
I'll be all right. Like,
You
literally.
know what I mean? I was on it and it was working, and then it started freezing up, or the loading wasn't happening. I was like, oh, I guess that's it. Turned it off, went to bed, man. Woke up this morning and I was like, oh, it's back. I'm like, what? Nah, maybe a little bit after that. It was later in the day.
back, like just like
But,
that.
yeah.
I did
But-
feel bad for the creators and people that get money off that shit. That did feel like their income was gonna go away.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
In that way, I was like, damn, I do feel for those kind of people. But for you motherfuckers who just dancing, posting y'all little shit on there, and that's it, like, go find somewhere else to post it. Like,
Go find somewhere else to
duh,
post it.
hey, it's YouTube, it's fucking Instagram. Do that shit on another platform.
Facts.
Like, it's not that big of a fucking deal to me.
Facts.
To me, you know. But everybody feel how you feel. But it's back for the time being. So we'll see how this whole saga goes with the TikTok thing.
Yes, sir.
And that's that on that for me. So, you know, it is what it is. Moving forward, past that, we got to get to the biggest fish on the content game right now, I guess. A little bit late on the side of it, but, you know, we ain't got to speak on it yet just because of, you know, time off, I guess. But Drake, well, this is after. Like, yeah, this is right in the, you know, the middle of this past week. The news dropped about Drake's defamation lawsuit against UMG. Have you heard? Have you read? Have you seen details on said matter?
I have minimal information, but I do know he's trying to up the ante a bit with these lawsuits.
Is he?
That's what my understanding is. What's your understanding?
My understanding is the first lawsuit was probably a better shot at gaining some kind of support behind than this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe everything that RDC said as I open up the audio. Like,
Yeah, that was an interesting audio. I ain't gonna lie.
you taking bigger L's over and over and over again. And this is just the worst of all L's. And I've seen so many other people online. And I ain't going to say that because I respect the generations and just how things have gone up until then with multiple rap beefs and all that. But I've seen multiple people say online on content podcasts, whatever, that this right here, this move by Drake, makes Not Like Us the greatest diss record ever in history. Like, defamation is a little nuts, bro, to me.
I mean,
And not for nothing, I wish you would just sue Kendrick. I wish you would just sue Kendrick. Because all this, like, trying to circumvent the real thing by going at the music label who then put out the music, and you're saying that it's your fault that all this is happening to me and blah, 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 whatever, when you were complicit in a rap beef. Like, you're complicit in a rap beef and decided to engage with said Kendrick Lamar, and you got your ass kicked. Like, take the L and move the fuck on.
I agree, but for the sake of content, I'm gonna disagree. No, let me just proffer it like that, because I think it would be weird to just have a conversation and we were just bashing.
It ain't gotta
Drake,
be.
But I want to provide a contextual argument to support Drake, just so for the viewers here, so we can have
and I'm calling
intelligent conversation.
Contextually,
Yeah.
break that shit down.
Let's go with it.
Go ahead.
Let's go with it. So in Drake's defense, right? He is trying to attempt to circumvent what is already known with the culture. He's lost with the culture. He's lost that. So there is nothing to gain. Like, the culture would not do anything or try to help him in any capacity if he did try to sue Drake. It would just be further L.
You mean Kendrick?
Oh, yeah. He tried to sue
Okay.
Kendrick.
Uh-huh.
So by going to the labels are to me the only place he can go to in terms of a lawsuit, because they're the governing, quote unquote, like they're the overseers of what comes out and what is released. He can't go against Kendrick one-on-one because that's not enough money. It's not enough money. Because to me, you want the big dollars, you got to go against the biggest fish. So they may just settle it out of court and he still get paid something. They're gonna try to fight it, but it's gonna be a battle of attrition. How long can he fight? How long can UMG fight?
A lot longer than Drake, I would assume.
I would assume too.
UMG's response was literally, "Nigga, what up?" Like that's basically what their response was. Without having to read it, it's out there. They basically said it's some bullshit.
In the grand scheme, there is a chance that because he was defamed in the song, like it wasn't like he wasn't. Like he got talked about really badly.
Sure, but he also talked about someone really badly. Also, like that's kind of how beefs go.
Which is fair. Like, but we've always said this.
We've always gone that way.
But we've always said this.
Tupac, I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker.
Can we genuinely say that Drake is hip hop, rap, whatever you want to call it? Because he doesn't identify himself as that.
He does.
He is a pop star.
He does though.
He conflates the two. All he does is make it like he makes it weird enough so you don't know which one it is. It's like, is it rap?
But he does though because
I'm a singer.
He pays attention to when people critique.
I got songs with Romeo Santos.
Not rapping. Like he tries to play that whole line of I'm the worldly artist and I'm, for everyone and all that shit. But he feel away when hip hop come at him. We saw how he responded to the whole For the Dogs album when everybody trashed that. He made a whole Scary Hours with him just trying to rap and do what nigga said he's not doing on that album. Even the producers that he worked with on that album was like rap producers. Conductor is like, that's Griselda type shit, for me. So if you're going to get those producers, you care about how that shit sounds to people that you want to attract from that community because that's where you made your bones. Like, you didn't make your bones with Romeo Santos. You didn't make your bones with fucking Bad Bunny and all of, like, you started in this community, so that is your core base. Do I believe you can grow outside of that? Sure, yes. But I do believe that he still cares a lot about how hip-hop feels. Or then, why engage in a rap beef with Kendrick Lamar in the first place?
Right. Why indeed?
Because you care about rap.
No, I think his hubris. I think he thinks that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And regardless of whether or not it's categorized as hip hop or not, never really cared. Never cared about that. He's saying, I'm Michael Jackson. I'm the biggest and the best. Only person he's worried about is Taylor Swift. First of all, what rapper would knowingly say he's worried about Taylor Swift? He sees himself in a different, he's like above the genre in his mind. And that's where his downfall is.
That's the problem.
That's where his downfall is.
That's the problem.
And I think when it comes to the music, the core of hip hop, that's what Kendrick is focused on and always was on. So when it comes to these defamation lawsuits, he doesn't want to go against Kendrick because it doesn't serve his narrative, which is I'm the biggest thing in the world, and you were a part of, making me look bad record label. If you are going to be a part of making me look bad record label, I'm going to teach you a lesson. That's where his hubris is at. He's above, quote unquote, Kendrick.
And that's, to me, is corny. It's
corny.
Fine with
I'm
going
saying
at the record label.
This is why Meet the Grams was such a great dissection of what.
Oh, no doubt. Still, for me, the most pivotal record of that whole shit.
It's a turning point.
Still, for me, the most pivotal record of that beef, and this is almost a year later now at this point. And we still talking about this shit a year later because he can't fucking recover from what the fuck happened to him.
But I think he's never going to recover from this because what he lost, and it's for me, it's just when you go back with comeback season, the October Very Own, the mixtape version of Drake, when he has to have that Closer to My Dreams track, and we're talking about old classic Drake that you get.
It's over for we far removed from that guy.
I know, but that guy has an emotional attachment to hip hop, and he loved hip hop,
and he still does.
But I think his growth and his level of success has detached him from it.
Well, he better be ready to detach himself all the way from that shit now because like you done in the hip hop community to me. Like after this.
You think
Like,
so?
Defamation after a rap beef that you chose to engage in and say, like, all these things happened to me because this song was put out. Like, bro, you baited him into a beef when Like That came out and Kendrick went quiet, and then you put out Tailor Made and then the other record just to like really get him to engage. Like,
Yeah.
So he engaged and he kicked your fucking ass. Don't try to sue the label now because he's on the same label as you and the label put it out. Like, to me, that's the corniest part of the whole thing.
But is that a rule in hip hop? That's never been done.
Sure, and it's not because
it's never been done before.
Beefs are defamation. Like, beefs are a defamation of character.
Exactly.
So if you want to be the guy who's the worldly artist, don't engage in a rap beef. And if someone throws a shot at you, then sue everybody if that's the case.
But I think of him like a pit bull. Remember how Pitbull started? Cool.
Nah,
and
Pitbull
now he's
he took a harder, way harder left than Drake. Pitbull don't even come back to like the rap community like that.
He still raps on his tracks. What do you mean?
Sure, he raps, but again, the appeal to who he's looking to market to is different.
You don't think
Drake
that's the same isn't true for Drake?
No,
that's cat.
No, hell no.
That's cat,
hell
bro.
Hell no. Pitbull don't give a fuck about a feature with so and so.
He did a house album the other year.
Who?
Drake.
Yeah, but still, Drake likes to play all across the board, but he wants to be accepted by the hip hop community.
I disagree.
Always has.
I disagree.
Pitbull
Only
started
because,
out as a rapper, but Pitbull immediately because Pitbull was on records with DJ Khaled.
Exactly.
When's the last time you heard a record with DJ Khaled and Pitbull? When's the last time you heard a record with DJ Khaled and Drake? The last album.
Right.
So that in itself says I'm still trying to tie myself to the hip hop community. You know? Pitbull,
but at the same time,
Pitbull is not out there talking about he's the best rapper.
He's doing multiple things, unlike Pitbull. Pitbull's on one trick pony.
No doubt.
Where
Which is why
Drake
I said
is doing
it's completely
5
different.
different. He has the infinity gauntlet. He's just like snapping his fingers on all the things.
And again, that's the problem, because if you want to be that, then be that, bro. I'm fine with you being the worldly artist. Go ahead and do it. But don't try to hang on to the hip-hop community and then do hip-hop shit. And then from there, run and fucking cry and tuck your tail when you got your ass kicked in the hip hop game for the first time, and this is the first biggest L you taken, and then doing shit that's L over L over L over L. And again, even the original lawsuit they said, or petition, that came out, like with him trying to say like, okay, you funded this record and this is that, whatever. Like, why are you trying to do your negotiations for your deal or negotiate your way out your deal? I was a little bit more for that than, oh, now it's just defamation and this is the actual suit I'm going for. And then to say that all these things happened to me as a part of this, like, oh, you put up the picture of my house and that's why people came to my house and shot the front.
Yep, that's fair.
That's not fair when your house has been known for years and years and years where it's at. Like, he spoke about people who tried to break into his house before this rap piece.
Somebody bro underneath the gate and got
the
into
day
the house.
after supposedly the security guard got shot. And am I not saying that shit isn't like traumatic in a sense and like serious to his life? Like, yeah, sure. But you can't then say that this shit is all because of this record when all this shit was out there from the jump.
I don't believe it's because of the record.
And on top of that, I will say with that whole shit that you, like, people come into my house and all other shit, like, you can't do that shit, Drake, just because when that shit happened to Joe Budden, when him and Joe Budden was going back and forth, you was online promoting that shit.
I do remember that too.
Like, and that to me is like, that's bitch made shit. Like, you can't promote that shit when it's somebody else that you going at and then say, oh, like, look what's happening to me, whatever, when it's happening to you now.
you know he is, though.
And that's the bitch made part of it to me, because it's like, bro, you don't play hip hop and then don't say, oh, I'm not gonna like abide by the quote unquote hip hop rules.
You remember when he what's his name was saying the white boy,
Rick Ross.
Yeah, and then he told his mom, this guy's racist.
Right.
Remember that? So again, he's confused in some degree, right? As to the parts of him that he wants to operate in, where he wants the respect and admiration from all hip hop fans and, old heads, OGs. But he also wants to play like he's a businessman and move as an entity that's separate. Right, so it's like Aubrey Graham, and then there's Drake, the business. To him, he's doing two things. Drake, the entity, was defamed, and that as a business can have a deleterious effect on his career and his success and his money making ability. So he's suing the industry for kind of allowing that to take place because his business is now affected, which I think is fair game. In the Aubrey Graham as an individual issue, he's now faced with a juxtaposition of who he is, and now he has to confront the fact that he is not as much of a hip hop fan as he thought he was. He has to realize that his music isn't above the barometer of greatness that Kendrick is, which is a whole nother conversation. And lastly,
his music is fine when the label's behind him.
When the label's behind him, no, I'm saying,
doubt. Like
it's still, we all saw what we saw, and Kendrick was better at this. Kendrick was better.
Oh, you mean this exchange? No doubt.
As thing. He always thought he was better, and now he has to face and realize that. And then lastly, he has to realize that no matter how much money, success, fame he gets, he will never be black. That's unfortunate to say, but that's the reality of all the things he's faced with, and that's a hard thing to swallow. So he's like, all of this is happening, and like he has to sit with his feelings. The whole entire world is making fun of Drake, A minor. Like it's like you cannot.
Super Bowl around the corner too.
It's crazy. So I understand.
Right,
and again, even going into this conversation, what did I say? I said I agree with you.
No doubt.
But for the conversation, I'm going to give the audience an opportunity to have back and forth discourse, because I feel like Drake needs to drop all this, man. You need to drop all this and just make a fire R&B album. You know what? Call it Thank Me Now, and people will still like hold on to nostalgia from what you've done and all the years you've made music. Get some dope producers to come out and make some bangers. Let's just have a good time and go sit down somewhere.
Nah, it's a loser.
It's not. It's
fucking baby.
It's not gonna work. And I think he can still salvage his career.
He can have a just fine career after this, bro. He done made all the fucking money already. He got paid $500,000 from the label from before. Not $500 million, excuse me, from the label before. Like, you've been successful in the game, bro. Like, everybody takes an L at some point. Like, there's grace in learning how to take an L and move the fuck forward.
Yes, sir.
Know? If you want to relate it to the sports world, there's grace in learning how to take an L, lose a chip. You get your ass in the gym in the summertime, and you come back out next season and do your thing. Like, that's how you go about it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and lose to somebody on the court and then sit there and talk shit about them in the media and then say, oh, the only reason they won is because of this, is that, whatever. Like, no. Like, we lost. I took the L. I'm going to take the onus on, I could have been better. We should have done this. Like, we didn't scheme right. Like, maybe our coach could have ran, like, what do we do wrong first is the number one thing that you focus on in loss.
Yep.
How could I have affected this outcome differently in loss? The people who can take accountability are the ones that can have those conversations internally or with their teams or whoever, like, yo, what the fuck we went wrong with this one? Because, like, they out there, like, A minor is ringing off. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to hurt to get your ass kicked, but you're going to lose at some point if you just keep on engaging in a competition. Like, it's just how this shit goes, There's people that still say Nas beat Jay. Like, look at Jay's career after that.
Exactly.
Literally, look at Jay's career after that.
But look at also how Jay took the time to take the L and move forward.
And move forward. Take the L and move forward, and that's literally how you turn the tides of the whole situation. First, get quiet, because, through the whole shit, he's been posting and new music on the way and whatever, just to keep his name in conversation, bro. If I would have took the L, I would have just went ghost for a little bit.
I'm going to get
myself right. I'm going to get my mind right, whatever, all this other shit. I got different shit to worry about than now trying to figure out a way to make my stain look a little bit less and then blame the label. And I understand you might have an issue with the label for years now. Like, from what they're saying, it's been back since, like, right after the Scorpion album, to where, like, him and the label issues started to take off, and, he's been disgruntled as an artist on that label. I get that. The fight with the label is a valid and fair fight. When you wrap up the beef that I just got, like, my ass kicked into the whole situation, it just removes you from a lot of different hip-hop conversations to say, we can accept you in that regard. Like, And if you don't give a fuck about that, then you got to live with it. Cool. My perspective on it is that you can't claim hip hop and then say, he said terrible things about me, when you said terrible things about him, and then try to sue the label just because y'all on the same label. Like, y'all on the same label. About me. Like, he said terrible things about me, and he caused these terrible things to happen in my life. Like, you know, what if Kendrick would have fucking got, not divorced, or him and his girl would have broke up over the shit you said about him? You're a woman beater. Your kid's not yours. All the stuff like that. Again, I still go back to refer to episode whatever when I said after being a P word, pedophile, that right after that, woman beater is pretty close behind. Like,
Yep.
So you mudslinging, and then you get a little bit more mud slung on you, and you're like, oh, I don't like how my clothes got dirty. Like, you know,
That's fair.
And that to me is like the whole part of it. So if you wanted to go at the label and say, yo, y'all been doing this funny shit, like there's a bunch of different ways you can go at the label rather than say, hey, this is the reason that, you know, I'm in this position. Like there's so many artists that can sue the label right now for whatever reason they choose, for whatever business dealings they've had that didn't go right or just didn't like pan out the way that you wanted to. You can sue for a bunch of different reasons, especially if you Drake, the biggest artist in the world, and all the other shit. Like you can find a way to do it that's not wrapped up into this. And to me, like if that was the fight, then go for that fight, bro. I think if you would have just solely went label, fuck Kendrick aside, I'm gonna find a different way to go about this to say that you guys, I've made you guys these millions and billions of dollars, and I don't feel I'm being fairly compensated. And then that was the suit that dropped. Fuck Not Like Us, fuck everything Kendrick aside. That would have been the win of how to get yourself back in the good graces of the people and drop a fire album outside of that.
I think you're a little biased though, because you are, you know, Kendrick is your GOAT. So
no
you're
doubt,
a little biased,
sure.
you know
But being
saying?
objective, I think that still, well, okay, I guess it's not objective, but I still think there's a different way to go about it than the way he's done so far.
But again, he's not. This is why I maybe have a different perspective. I do not see Drake as a hip hop rap. He's not. He doesn't fall into the to me the rules and the regimen of hip hop because he's done so much R&B and singy, softy. Remember in the beginning of his career, he was rapping and singing soft, and it was like,
but he was still a rapper. He still wanted to be around the rappers. He still embraced the rappers.
What I'm saying is,
like,
you're not.
I look up to you as a rapper.
He changed the game because he was being emotional on his tracks.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Marvin's Room is about him. I miss you, girl, and I really wish you would be with me instead of being with that guy.
Those slaps will live forever.
And I'm just
in
looking
the
at
Drake
him
playlist.
as that.
Like, yes.
So if nothing was the same, like Drake's album, we can't look at everything in the way we used to from the old school hip hop era, unless we want to say that that's the only barometer of how we move through hip hop. If that's the only way to do it, then that's fine.
In rap
but
beef,
nowadays, it's like it's different. To me, it's like there's different branches. He will never be what Kendrick is to hip hop,
and that's fair. But he's too old to be the one that like is trying to change things in that way. You know, if he was 25, 26, one of these young niggas who don't care, Tekashi snitch, I don't give a fuck, gonna snitch, so we still gonna sell out his shows. If you that kind of young kid and you just out there and you don't give a fuck like that by the old rules, then cool. You know, but Drake is 38 or 39 almost this year, I think, or whatever. Like he's right around my age.
He's Canadian.
True.
He's not like they not like us.
I understand. That's the main point. That is the main point. So get the fuck away from us if that's the case. But right now you're just showing that you not like us for real.
Facts.
Like you not like us. It's just coming out more and more.
So I'm not gonna hold our rules to this dude. He's not like us.
That's fair.
Let him do what he do. Like he's gonna be that guy.
But you also got to give people the grace. And this is an artist that I supported, I championed for so long because I thought he was like us. And then you're doing everything now to show that you're not.
He's not.
You know? And I've been said Drake was funny style. Like this is years ago. Did I listen to his music? Yes. All that other shit. Would I dance in a club if it came on? Yeah. Like Drake, he's like it's undeniable what he's done in the game.
Talent.
But I've been said he was funny. Like. And this is from the first, like, and when he was vulnerable on the rap side, and I'm like, yo, this dude kind of corny, you know? But he made it cool, he made it poppin', and he made it, like, lit, so people leaned into that shit. But that shit was always there from the jump. So now that it's coming out in this way, does it surprise me? No, but it also is a thing to call out to say, listen, bro, again, you're not like us. And Kendrick was right in everything he said. Now you're just exposing more and more and more how you are not, you know?
Yep.
So the whole
it's
lawsuit
a double
thing,
confirmation of what we knew already.
no doubt, no doubt. But you got to call that shit out sometimes and give people a room to like express their feelings on it. And it's hot, so shit. Give me a few more clicks to make sure that I put my position out on it. Then damn right, you know.
Yeah.
From my side of it, Drake, like it's a bad look, man. It's a bad look, you know. Just bounce back. Go do your shows in Australia. Whatever.
He's running away to down under.
Turn off the TV at halftime of the Super Bowl.
Turn the
Don't
TV
watch
off.
the Super
Turn the
Bowl,
TV off.
You know, and that whole shit too is kind of funny as well because another podcast put out there that Drake also has a line that just came out with the NFL too. You know, and they made mention of, I say his name because, you know, I ain't no hater. Shouts to Ice to the Joe Budden podcast. He brought up a point that leading up to the Super Bowl, you usually see a lot more promotion of the artist that's going to perform.
Exactly.
It's been kind of quiet on that shit.
It has.
And then Drake put out a line with the Super Bowl, just like it did with the
with
Nike
the NFL. With the NFL.
Sorry,
Yeah,
the NFL, excuse me.
Yeah.
Just like he was trying to, you know, collaboration type shit.
Knock the type joint, yeah.
And that shit just dropped out of nowhere. So I think that is an interesting part of this whole situation. And Ice's perspective was like, this is his effort to try to get that shit like smashed at the Super Bowl to where he can't play Not Like Us.
Do you like Knock?
Nah, I don't really.
Not really. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Like but I don't personally have any of that shit. And you know, from my side of it, it's just something Drake was trying to do. I don't really own much of Drake collab shit like that. I don't think I own any of it actually. You know,
no OVO, you know, Jordans or nothing like that.
Nah. If I think way back, I might have had like a OVO XO T-shirt.
Yeah.
Back when him and The Weeknd was doing their thing, but that we saw how that went. But since then, like, nah, I don't really like support Drake in that way.
Support
Drake. A lot of artists too. I don't really put my dollars into a lot of artists there unless I really fuck with you like that.
Right.
For real. But you know. That said, went a little long on the Drake thing, which is cool. It is what it is. Hopefully, the whole suit thing maybe turns out the way he would like it to. I don't see it going that way.
He would like it to.
Whatever's going to happen in the hip hop community is like, I think it's done, bro. I think you're done in the hip hop community. Not to say he won't have a career at all, like, you know, but I think it's quiet for Drake right now. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Period. Sports though, let's get into that.
Let's talk about it.
Interesting piece of information was dropped this week.
What's up?
And it goes to your boy. Well, not your boy directly because they're trying to say he's not tied into it. But Maverick Carter, did you see the news about Mav?
With the new league?
Supposed to have a $5 billion you know, a bid, I think, or something like that, to start a new. Well, let me pull up the actual details.
A new
say it correctly.
International basketball league that should rival the NBA.
That should rival the NBA is what.
Which is a tall order. To be quite frank, I don't foresee.
Hold on, I have it here.
Anything that can rival the NBA, but I hear you.
I have it right here.
$5 billion aside.
LeBron's business partner Mav Carter linked to a $5 billion bid for a new international basketball league. The landscape of basketball and sports in general is forever changing. Blah 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 blah. The carousel of players is being paid what they're owed before they even become professionals. They're basically just talking about, you know, where basketball's at in general. LeBron's business partner, Mav Carter, is advising a group of wealthy individuals who wants to raise $5 billion to create an international league where players would be given ownership. You know, more details on it if you want to check it out. It's on Bloomberg. It's on a lot of different, you know, people who report on these kind of things. So,
I mean, many episodes I've talked about how we need to maneuver differently.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. I figured, you know, you'd have this chance to get your shit off.
And this is what I want. I want more of us to start branching out and figuring out how do we make sustainable things for us. So we are at the
us
forefront.
Who though? Because I want to make sure
you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but in this Mav Carter situation, I don't know who he's necessarily working with on this
I do
venture.
understand
I'm
that.
sure it's a lot of not us in
there.
But
the part where it says the players are in control, that's the piece that I really...
Players having ownership.
Yeah, having ownership. That to me is something that NBA will never have or never give, rather.
Nah, it's over for that.
They're not giving up ownership of these teams.
You're going to get a check. This is our shit.
We'll pay you.
Yeah.
But if they're paying you $400 million, 30 million, 40, 50 million, how much money do you think they're making? Right? That's where it's like, for me, it's like the value of athletes and just the black body, pause, is such a...
I wasn't even going to pause you on that.
Nah, but I was. It's such an important thing. It's an entertainment resource. It is, you know, work. It is building the country. It is our minds, all of it. Innovators, all of that. we are such an important resource, and we're worth billions, if not trillions of dollars, and we only see, percentages of it. And I think when we have a league that can reinforce ownership, give us stakes into this, the discussion will change. And I think the NBA better start moving differently as well. And competition, is the cornerstone of American way, or whatever. So if we have two things that are competing against each other, it's going to create a better product for everybody, because everybody's gonna be like, you know what, I'm okay. I'm gonna watch the international league. I'm off that. They can get some real good players, recruit some top athletes from the country and colleges and stuff like that. Give them the top dollar, because the years where it used to be, you could promise a 18-year-old kid to play on a team without any money and all that are gone. I remember He Got Game. Remember when Ray Allen character came home and the dad was mad? He was like, I want mine.
Facts.
I know you got something. You come up in here looking like this with a new chain. I want what we put a lot of work and effort in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, how many kids are being faced with that reality, but now they can do something for their families. And I always look at that when I'm like, man, for so many years, we've been going on courts, running on these fields, whatever we had to do for these colleges that are multi-million-dollar businesses or business entities, and they don't give nothing but a scholarship for a degree that ain't paying you. Once you get out with your degree, you can't find a good job, right? Oh, and when you try to get hired, you don't have no experience. So you're telling me I got a 4-year degree and you still want me to have 4 years of experience? I might as well went straight to work. What are you talking about?
I mean, I feel all that, and I ain't, I'm not saying that's not valid.
Gambit, yeah.
And I'm not stepping on this at all. Like, I think that it's an interesting thing to do. I do think that whether it matters or not, because it's still going to be tied to the NBA somehow, I just don't think that you want that verbiage out there that is supposed to rival the NBA, because then you put a target on your back.
Oh, that's a good point.
Just do it.
That's a good point.
Just do it.
Who said that? I wonder if that was the media's choice of words, or
maybe,
if that was...
maybe not. I don't know. But again, I do think it's going to be tied to the NBA anyway. But I don't know who put that wording out there. I don't think there would be enough information out there for them to say that it rivals the NBA if they're just reporting on what they heard. Because just like, the Unrivaled League, which just kicked off. Shout out to the ladies out there doing their thing. Like, that is a league where the players have
snapping out there.
Equity in the league. So, whatever they're doing out there. And I think the women's situation is a little bit different, just because their off season is a lot bigger.
It's a lot longer,
than the NBA season. So a lot of those women end up going to play overseas in different countries, China, a lot of them. And just, they get money throughout the year because they don't get paid all year throughout basketball.
I'm hoping they reduce the league. It doesn't need 82 games, man.
Nah, keep that.
We don't need 82.
Keep that. Besides the point, though, because what I was just saying in general was just, I think that, that it just is something to explore. If this is the age of player empowerment and just, the basketball landscape changing and all that, go ahead, shoot for it. I do think it being an international league is interesting. I would like to see what that looks like. I think the NBA is already an international league. So, I think that just when you start putting out...
Slow down. You think the NBA is an international league?
Yeah.
No, let's not be.
Top 10 players in the league. Name them. Name how many of them American. We had this conversation on here already, so we ain't gonna spend too long.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I don't see it as an international league.
It is an American sports league by like structure, where it's located. Who's playing each other, et cetera, et cetera. I'm saying that we attract so much international talent in the NBA right now that the gap between where it used to be, where on every roster you might have like none or one guy from overseas, to now you got Domantas Sabonis. Well, Domantas was born here, but his father's Arvydas. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Freaking Shea is probably the best player in the league right now. He's Canadian. So I do think the international influence on the game is, like, they got it in a stronghold right now.
Luka,
Jokic. You got Luka. Like, we can
Embiid.
keep going. Like, so I'm not going to say it's an international league, like, structure-wise, but I do think the league itself embraces, like, come over here and play, you know? So with the Mav Carter thing, I'm interested to see what it actually looks like as far as the teams. Like, are you going to have a team from Serbia play versus a team from France? Or, like, what the international structure of it looks like. You know?
Yeah, that's what's going to be difficult.
I just wanted to say that I think that when you put it up against the NBA this early, like you put a target on your back. Because we already saw with the NBA how they don't lean into the big three. There's a bunch of different reasons I feel for that too. So, deeper, darker situation that I ain't going to get into right now with the whole, who owns that league and all that other shit. So we'll stay away from that. But them leaning into another league like that, I think is where it gets dangerous because the NBA is known to try to step on some shit if they don't like it. So for me, I just believe just do what you got to do, and just move how you got to move. Like, and they're trying to move LeBron as far away from this situation as possible because everything I read says that this is Mav Carter and not LeBron.
Yeah.
Don't nobody fucking believe that. So whatever. I do think that those two are, I ain't gonna say attached at the hip, but on the business side of it, bro, like that Mav Carter is not Mav Carter without LeBron James. So I do believe LeBron has some input or some conversations on whatever's going on to say like, yo, maybe keep me out of this because until a specific time, maybe when I can be a little bit close to the situation. But LeBron's expressed he wanted ownership for a while now. And with the whole, the LA situation, the LA team, the expansion team, he wanted in on that. And that's a whole steeper hill to climb from him. And I think athletes getting ownership is a steep enough hill to climb anyway. Just because Jordan really had to go through his trials and tribulations just to be able to be in on the Charlotte Hornets the way he is now.
Exactly.
So that whole conversation in general is just different, But we'll see how it goes. I'm interested, and I will have my eye on the situation.
Same.
Going forward. I'm not against it, but again, I just want to see what it looks like and keep the NBA out of it as much as you can and just do your thing. Let that shit grow on its own and be its own entity where it's not being put out there that it's supposed to rival the NBA. That's where it gets a little tricky. And I don't know who said that. Sometimes the reporters just be putting shit together and saying things. But I would also go out and make my own statement if I'm Mav Carter to say like, listen, NBA is NBA. I'm doing something different over here. So let's keep that. Those comparisons. Let's keep that out of it. But we'll see, man. Shouts to Mav Carter, business mogul, very smart individual, does a lot of great things that we've seen in multiple different industries. So I think it's a good thing. Ambitious for sure, but
it's very ambitious. And it's like it's an uphill battle. I think of two things when I think about this kind of deal. I think about what WWE tried to do with the XFL.
I don't know much about that.
All right, so
you'd have to inform me.
They tried to go up against the NFL.
WWE did?
WWE.
Okay.
Vince McMahon, they brought out and tried to make a league.
I know what the XFL is.
That was separate from. Yeah. And they had these funky rules. Like there's
Vince McMahon was the one behind the XFL?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. This was a while back. Yep, it's a while back.
Word.
But again, it's a lot. You're asking for a lot to try to recreate or to build out something that really it's a lot of pieces in the puzzle that have already been put together and already have been kind of orchestrated by NFL so long. They own a day of the week.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it's really hard to try
when you start going against shit that's established for decades and decades and decades, it's a hard fight.
And what ended up happening? It got defunct, and they brought it back again, and even The Rock tried to be the spokesperson. It fell apart. It's when you're trying to build out something that is totally brand new and unique, but it's off of another brand's has that ownership. They're going to do anything and everything to shut it down.
No,
and it's very seldom that something like that ever works. I know the AFL did a couple seasons pretty well. I think they're still doing it. AFL
is still out there.
Yeah, still
going on. Let me know if I'm bugging, but I think it's still out there.
It's a different brand of football, so it's not the same thing. So it's a different thing.
Less players.
UFC had their thing, and then they got Bellator and other MMA companies. So it is doable. There is potential. You got the One Fighting Championship. There's other companies doing similar cage MMA fighting. So there's not like you can have multiple versions of the same thing. I'm not saying that. But again, I'm glad Mav is going to be, advising. He's one of those minds that can kind of see the hurdles and advise in a way that can make things work. As you can see, he has a lot of other businesses and other things he's done with LeBron. So we'll see. We'll see how it lands. I'm just curious as to why, like you said, why they would put the framework out there about it rivaling NBA.
That's where
it's just a bad taste bad start, in my
It gets
opinion.
interesting.
Yep.
You know, I wouldn't even. Well, I mean, they're gonna know at some point. They got their ears and eyes everywhere. But
Yeah.
I would just get as far into as I can without
LeBron
even mentioning the
James.
NBA. But hey, man, Mav, do your thing, bro. You know, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's really all we got on the board today. Unless there's anything else interesting, I can go through my.
I mean, that
notes real quick.
ESPN situation with the
Which one?
reporter, I forgot her name.
Oh,
I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
talking about Joy Taylor? That's
Yes,
Fox.
I am.
We ain't spoke about that.
We ain't speak about it.
We ain't spoke about that.
We ain't speak about it.
How much time you?
If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. I just saying, it's a thing, man.
It's quiet on that right now.
It's quiet now, but
This
it was a
deep
thing.
into the news cycles and
It's a-
stuff. It's
yeah,
quiet.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been quiet for a little bit. I haven't said anything specifically on it over the past couple weeks. I missed it. I did want to talk about it like 2 weeks ago before we took our little break because that's when it kind of first dropped.
Yeah, I mean, we ain't do a real talk yet. I don't know if you want to talk about that as a real talk, but
Nah, that ain't real talk. Real talk is different. But I mean, my perspective on that whole Joy Taylor shit is not surprised. Like,
ooh,
if any of it were to be true, I'm operating from the perspective of like the alleged is actually fact. I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not surprised.
yeah.
Especially from her. Like, she gives complete, like, hot girl willing to do what she can and will to make, you know, her mark in the game, make a buck, et cetera, et cetera.
She's
you know?
trying to move up.
And she's fine, so I ain't going, you know, Joy Taylor's been fine for a long time, so I ain't, and no shades to her in any kind of way. And not to say that her being fine is the only thing she's good at, because, you know, she has made a decent lane for herself in the sports realm and all that. But, you know, I'm not surprised by that shit at all. You know, I'm still waiting. I don't want to talk about it too much just because when it gets to that, it's a lot of, like, back and forth opinions on what happened versus what someone said. Skip Bayless is involved in it. The other homie who she's on the show with, I'm blanking on his name, is Jay something right now. I'm blanking on his name, but, you know, supposedly sleeping with him too. Then it's messy. It's messy. So I'm waiting to see when it heat up again. But I'm not surprised by any of that shit. I'm a little surprised by the Skip Bayless shit, but from who people say they know Skip Bayless to be. But I mean, can we really say that about anyone nowadays?
Nowadays, I'm always surprised, and only surprised so much.
Yeah. So that's that for me. Like, we'll see. More will be revealed at some point soon. I do think it's interesting that she's just maintained, like, business. I'm not talking about this shit too much. Anything she's posted has been nowhere near speaking about that. But it's also a legal battle too, so maybe she's just keeping quiet and just trying to keep ourselves like work focused and not have to deal with the smut that's being put on her name and all that. So we'll see, man. We'll see, but not surprised. That's my perspective on it. Definitely just not surprised. Yeah,
I definitely think that when it comes to, it's like I see these instances and I'm like, allegedly. Into these instances, but when we got women in positions, I feel like men always take the bait. We always take it. We always take the bait, man. And she's,
you mean as far as
falling
for the harlot,
falling for the joint?
Oh,
yeah, man.
Easy.
I'm like, man, just you gotta have that discipline. We said on the other episode that dick discipline. It's like it's so. It's the story is just
and we'll chase
repetitive.
that shit too. Like,
it's so repetitive
because her being that is one thing, but from what we understand of that situation, like, he was leaning into that type of shit. Like,
facts.
You know, he was pursuing her in that way, and she just said, "I got a mark, so I'm gonna make this the most out of the situation,
get the best out of it."
You know. Self-starters and those willing to make the most out of any situation.
Don't associate her with EFS. Nah, I'm just saying.
No judgment. Joy Taylor might be EFS gang. Like,
nah,
you know,
man.
Because
I'm just saying because I hear it. I hear the trope is so oftenly, you know, workplace siren and, you know, attractive woman in an office, and then what do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, she only got there because of this, because of that, and then in this scenario, there's a potential that's the case, and it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like she's talented enough where she could have probably made those moves without doing all that. I don't. Okay. Well, hey, I don't know, because here's my problem. If she didn't do it, is there another young lady behind her that would? And that's where it gets so tough.
Facts.
And that's where it gets so tough because I'm like, how long are we going to enable that behavior? And we're supposed to be the leader. We're supposed to be the men, supposed to be in charge. And we are enabling that behavior with the women that are coming into the office and all that. And it's like, no, let's look at
Men
the
gonna be
abilities.
men, though.
And that's the problem.
Men is going, and I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm not gonna say it's not a problem.
We are not unflawed. We flawed. But I'm just calling it out as like, again, we get the same kind of outlook, same story. There's an attractive young lady in the office, and guess what happens? Somehow, some way, sex is involved.
I'm just surprised, and this is the last thing we'll say on it before we get to real talk, because again, I said I didn't want to go too hard on this one, but I'm just surprised at and I ain't gonna say I might not have missed something, but I'm surprised at the lack of women speaking on the issue. Because all I'm seeing right now is literally a bunch of men's perspective on what's been happening with the whole thing.
That's a good point.
The women reporters, the Jamel Hills, the Carrie Champions, the Molly Karam, if you want to I want to know how they feel about it because, if you have followed that same path that she has, maybe you might be a little quiet. If you have been a person who's made your bones on the work that you do, and I'm in this industry for the right things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I would feel that you might have a different perspective on it. I know Joy Taylor has a lot of, I don't know personally, but from what it seems, she has a lot of relationships in the industry. So maybe it's like, I don't want to speak on somebody I might be close to, but I think it's interesting the lack of women's opinions about this specific thing that are not circulating, at least in my algorithms that I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, honestly.
So that's that on that. But we'll see as we go forward. I'm sure something's going to come out from it soon. I think it's been a little bit quiet since it got released. And sometimes the powers that be make it that way, but we'll see. We'll see for sure. Now, real talk. Moving forward to that. Real talk, short and sweet this week. It's not really it is profound enough to speak on, but it doesn't really come from anything but having a tough week, and, we kind of open up with the top of the pod. Like this week has been trying. My sleep schedule has been fucked up this week.
Damn.
Very low sleep from what I'm used to, and just having to do a bunch of different things and manage things, stressful situations. My mom being in the ER, which is the second time in a shorter amount of time that I would care to have it happen.
Yeah.
And just having to take care of things mentally, physically, spiritually, and all things in between. It can be a rough battle sometimes. So the real talk today is just a message and a motivational message to anyone that's out there going through something that tough times do not last. Tough people do.
Yes.
And you're just going to get your ass kicked sometimes. Some things are going to completely throw your energy off to where you can't function. Sometimes things are going to throw your energy off to where it's some whole unexpected shit that you now have to stop everything you're doing and then focus on, So all those things add up to the level of stress that you may carry and how your body, mind, and spirit, like I just mentioned, respond to those kind of things. So, definitely make sure that if you are experiencing tough times, speak to someone about those things, because sometimes when you internalize a lot of your issues, you end up making them seem, feel, and be a lot worse than what they should be or could be, and lean on people that's close to you and lean on just the things that that help keep yourself balanced and support your peace and levelness and just being able to manage through the storm, And an interesting piece, I was laying in bed last night scrolling, and I ain't gonna go to find it right now, but it was a Kobe clip from when he had an interview, I think it was on ESPN,
right.
Where he was just talking about the tough times, you just gotta deal with them, while they happening. And I'm not going to quote them accurately at this point, but it was just an interesting clip, and it kind of hit me at a point where I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going through the midst of this shit right now. This is exactly what I needed to hear from somebody that I've respected for a long time. So it was on my heart and my spirit to make sure that I spoke to anyone out there who may be listening, watching, to let you know that if you're dealing with a tough time, this shit ain't forever, man. All things will balance out. All situations and things usually revert to the means, and hopefully you get to a point where you can be a little bit more balanced, stable, and level. And that's really just me on the ISO with that one, just because I've been having a tough time myself this week, but I'm still here to represent the podcast and my opinions and perspectives. So that's that. Hold your head, hang in there, stay tough, man. Literally that.
Love that. That's dope.
Word.
I can definitely be a testament to that too, because I know my week has been
Yeah, no doubt. You know,
Ups
it goes
and
across the
downs.
board. It goes across the board. So hang in there, y'all. You know, we gotta make sure that we manage throughout all the bullshit that life throws at us. Quote time is on me this week.
Let's go,
and it
baby.
comes from someone who is unfortunately no longer with us, but I think it is a great quote to leave you, the people, with. Stuart Scott. He passed, I think, 10 years ago now. And it was recently. So, you know, when that comes around, then people start posting and speaking about him in the most positive light, which is paying his proper respect. But he had a quote that says, life consists of 2 dates with a dash in between. Make the dash count. So one more time, life consists of 2 dates with a dash in between. Make the dash count. And that's really that, man. Like, we here for however long we here for. We'll leave this earth for whenever we are, you know, whatever your higher power you believe in, whenever it is your time to go, it's your time to go.
Thanks.
Everything in between, you got to make count. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. As we close this thing out, we're always going to make sure that you know to guard yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and all things in between. And stay safe in this crazy world. But with that said, the EFS podcast episode number 47 is out.
Yes, sir.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We love the love of the EFS podcast. We'll be back with you soon. Peace.
Share us on TikTok too.
Share us on the talk, man. And don't make a dance to our theme music.